Hey team, very good morning. Hope you're all doing well. It's Friday, so the last trading day of the week. I've just noted in all the videos that I posted this morning, I keep saying last trading day of the day. It is that too, but more importantly, it's the last trading day of the week. I am sharing the screen. Good. So let's get off to a good start. So AUD US dollar. I hope you guys managed to capitalize on that beautiful textbook Asia range short yesterday. And just yeah, if you are able to rewatch a couple of the videos that I put out just overviewing that strategy and really how you shouldn't really let it affect your psyche if you take a loss on a position. You guys saw that I took a loss on GJ trading exactly the same way 2 days ago, and yesterday we took the same setup and another 1 to 3. The day prior, I think it was AU with a break even, and then on the first Tuesday, exactly again the same setup, and that was another 1 to 3. So, yeah, Asia Range as a product is definitely performing very well on the shelves. So here we are, US dollar. So the DXY. What am I expecting? Well, definite room up towards the upside for a short potential down. Why? Well, if you have a look at price action 4 hour time frame, we are making that low. So we've broken out of potentially my beautiful illustration of indicating a range after a low. What are we expecting? A lower high. Where could that lower high come from? Order block selection. So there are two order blocks potentially available. There is one here which I foresee to be the better one, in all honesty, of which broke most recent structures to the lows. Alternatively, if we are just going to revert back into the range, then potentially slightly higher. Let's just double check this is on all intervals. Yeah, that's up here. Refined that area down to the left-hand side. You can see exactly where that is also. So this day, excuse me, this 4 hour order block, refine that area down. Here we are by way of 15-minute order block. And what I will do so you're able to have a look and put it on your own charts as well. Let's make it bigger, and you can see just there's that 15-minute order block refined within this area. The caveat to that, there's another 15-minute order block up at the highs. We've got one at the equilibrium, the midpoint, which is a great confidence to take in a position from a higher time frame refined area, and up at the highs as well, which is always a good point because that particularly, well, that in itself could be where the move has come from. But the way I see it is we had a low, lower high, then confirm lower low. So to me, here is the key structure point. Here also on the DXY is a structure point that we are expecting what? A turnaround or at least a reaction from. Then if that isn't to materialize, down to these lows, rejection of that daily 50 MA for the day. And at the moment, we have a great confidence that we will gravitate towards that daily 50 MA again for the day. Also, that weekly 50 MA weekly order block, where we have now tapped into just about that weekly order block, but we don't trade from weekly order blocks. So we do expect price to come a little bit lower down into those areas. So even perhaps past this daily 50 MA, slightly lower into this weekly order block refined area. We've got that daily order block there as well. And then 4 hour and 15 is there waiting and ready for us down at these lows. So good potential on the DXY in terms of range. So that's what I have at the moment. So I've got an alert where I would foresee myself taking a position from the DXY if I were to trade that index from that 15-minute order block refined within the most recent 4 hour order block. And then what I'm going to do is place an alert just here to see if we start snapping some lows, i.e. can I start bringing my 15-minute order block down based on 15-minute time frame only. At the moment, that's exactly what I've got. An alert down at this low in case I'm not able to grab any pullbacks coming, well, giving us that short incentive on the DXY. And then I'll be looking for that long, or rather bullish strength to come out of the DXY towards the upside. So that's what I have at the moment for the DXY. So that's suggesting to me potentially at the moment on my cross pairs, there's nothing quite ready just yet, because if I was going to trade the index, which is the catalyst being the US dollar, then there is nothing there either. I'm just going to double check to see if there's a 15-minute order block that's being reacted from. So what I will do is just place this in on the market. This could well be a potential session high. Just want to double check if we've broken and closed above it, and then I'll absolutely get rid of it. So here was a 15-minute order block that caused a low in the market. just about, and then we have failed to break above it. So I'll keep that on, but it's not going the whole way across. What I'll do is just have my alert just here, and let's see how price starts to react. If it comes towards that area, or if we start snapping those lows, as I said, then this now I'll move it across you like so. And that has now caused the most recent snap. But for now, that's where that order block will stay. And what I mean by that is a potential reaction from it. So if we get a good reaction from that area, then perhaps sooner rather than later, cross pair could well be ready. But at the moment, I don't see anything in effect that could well be ready across the pairs. So AU, favorite marked as green today. Let's have a look to see how we fare if my charts are going to load. Good stuff. So another Asia range potentially in the market for us, but that is paired with higher time frame directional bias. We do have immediate conflict rather for AU. We're trading highs, we're trading well bullish out of that weekly order block to the right hand side, top right hand chart. Although that's being said, we are trading out of that daily order book that's being supported by that daily 50 MA, hence the position yesterday as well. Very good confidence for it. With that said, in terms of trend immediacy, what we can see is we're very much so bullish. Highs created on that 4 hour time frame. In terms of the short now being a directional position, I do like it. I really do like it. And to me, to be honest, I'm more inclined to wait for a higher time frame directional position as opposed to an Asia range. I'm not quite sure why yet. Well, I am sure because at the minute, looking at that 4 hour time frame, it looks quite bullish. Therefore, if we've had the move away yesterday, which gave us our take profit, my mindset is that that could be the higher low to then create that higher high. We do have a 4 hour order block, which would be perfect in line with higher time frame directional bias. Therefore, what my mindsets are gaze in two directions. Would I like to take that using a 1 minute break of structure, or would I like to take that using higher degree of confluence and then take an aggressive entry? So what I'm inclined to wait for is a 15-minute bearish engulfing candle to come from that area. Then once I get that engulfing candle, leaving me a 15-minute order block behind, I'll then take my entry when price returns, like so. If I draw that as an illustration, 15-minute bearish engulfing candle that's left behind from that order block to prove to me that it's not this order block or this order block, because we do have refined areas within that higher time frame directional order block on the daily time frame. So if I wait for a bearish 15-minute candle close from that area, wait for the pullback, and again, engulfing being the key word, if it's engulfing, then we will indeed have another order block on that 15-minute time frame. If it's just a bearish 15-minute candle, then we might have a 5 or a 1 minute. You certainly will have a 1 minute order block. So the fact that I could take this as a 1 minute break of structure, meaning that a 15-minute bearish engulfing candle should be enough for me to have that confluence anyway. The fact that then I'll wait for price to come back, then I'll wait for a 1 minute break of structure from there, that will give me the good confluence. And then instead of using Asia range as a target, I'll use it as a confluence, and then I'll look to take price all the way down for the day, even towards that 4 hour 50 MA, and perhaps even beyond it. So that's my thought process on AU. Very, very good looking price action on the 15-minute time frame. We have indeed starting to break those structure points. Yesterday we broke that nice structure point there, pullback, and it was a beautiful textbook Asia range short. So I like that and I have a lot of time for those types of trade. So I'd be a bit cautious just because of the range between the daily order block short and the weekly order block towards the upside, meaning that the shorts are still at quite a risk because we're looking to reject that weekly 50 MA for the week. But then the caveat to that is, of course, we're looking to reject that daily 50 MA for the day. So I do see price could close anywhere between the daily 50 MA towards the downside and the weekly 50 MA towards the upside. So actually the shorts do look quite good indeed. So yeah, it's definitely a firm favorite actually. AUD US dollar. For me, I'll update you guys throughout the day. As I always say, I am actively trading today, so therefore anything I do, I'll give you guys a message as well. US dollar CAD. So what do we have for US dollar CAD? US dollar CAD. Right. So a couple of conflicts again. Higher time frame directional wise, we're looking to come out short out of the weekly order block. However, price action for me has started to break a structure point towards the upside, leaving a 50-minute order block behind. So that's the downside to that. If I draw out 15-minute time frames, we're looking at a low in the market, potential lower high for a lower low. And we've had this break of structure towards the upside, breaking most recent the most recent lower high, leaving us with an order block behind. So my thought process is reaction from that order block, in line with this daily 50 EMA on the daily time frame. Sorry, absolute brain fart for a second. This daily order block and the refined area, the 4 hour. It's a bit of guesswork, as I keep saying, but we are respecting and rejecting yesterday that daily 50 made towards the upside. So I have every thought process to believe that we are going to look to reject that daily 50 made today for the day. However, I feel like the range back into the area. Now, I'm not going to confuse the topic. It looks good, but the range into the weekly, it just looks a little bit, it just looks quite small, long story short. Whether or not I want to use an area in the market, which is a bit of guesswork based on a daily 50 MA, that yes, it does look good, but my higher time frame directional bias must take precedence. And for me, we're just too close to that weekly order block, so I might have to let that go, to be quite honest, team. I could take it on my personal accounts, but I certainly can't take it on any of my managed accounts, because that would breach a fundamental rule of that. So I'll let you guys know if I am going to take that on my personal accounts. But as I've said previously, when I'm trading my managed accounts, I can't take those types of positions, because my thought process is exactly bearish coming out of that weekly order block. We're in that weekly order block, so I don't really have any right, particularly on my investment accounts, to take a long position back in there, because I have no idea when price is going to actually turn around and respect my higher time frame directional bias. So it looks good based on 15. It looks good based on the pretty illustrations and drawings that we have on the charts, but that's just that. They're pretty illustrations and drawings on the chart. And but for that daily 50 MA, I probably would not be having a daily order block just there. Um, for example, if the daily 50 MA is here, this is just an order block after a bullish candle, which doesn't give me any right to put to look for a position from there, because then the question is, well, why not this one? Why not any other one in that upward leg? We can see that this is very lineal with no real clear pullbacks, um, as well as the 4 hour, very lineal, no clear pullbacks on the chart. Therefore, it's quite difficult to identify a solid higher high, higher low in that leg extension to them for us to start building our confidence. Probably the reason why I've put a bit of a range on that 4 hour time frame, not really seeing any highs, any clear highs and lows. Let me superimpose on the 15-minute time frame. We will see, of course, price breaking towards the upside and towards the downside, but just want to see where that really lines in terms of clear highs and lows, in the market. So let's see if the thought process could be, yeah, what I'm going to do, I will have that as, let me put that as a range. If we get the 4 hour candle close above that area, that of course is going to give us solid confluence. Don't tap into the 4 hour 50 MA, but then come back, because we are looking to reject that 4 hour 50 MA. So if we have a nice 4 hour candle close above the area, not too large, then pull back. Perhaps I'll take the long up at a very low risk, and then I think the better play would be to short alongside the higher time frame weekly order block. So that's what I have for US dollar CAD. As I've said, I'll let you guys know as and when I'm looking to execute any trades. But at the moment, I feel that a long position could be a little bit too risky. But we'll come back to it later on today. Let's have a look at GCAD. GCAD, bit of an annoying one. No real pullbacks. If it's going to load, come on, internet. You can do it. Right. Are we going to load? Okay, good stuff. So, 2 seconds. Okay, back with GCAD. So GCAD really, it's a nice looking trading range to be quite honest. We've got this order block up at those highs that gave us a push to the downside that broke immediate structure points on the way up. So I like the short. I like the fact that price could well be reacting from that order block. If I look to refine this area down, or rather start the process again, if the internet will let me, let's go 300 to the right, move it across ever so slightly, and then restart that process. The reason why I want to restart the process is to see if my refined areas actually align nicely within that area to give me the confidence perfect for a higher time frame directional trade. So I like the range. There's no real price action and structure to it. It's just a 4 hour order block that hasn't really created anything just yet, but we're using the fact that, well, price came from that area initially and then with having a reaction from it, which is just giving us some nice breaks of structure on the lower time frames. And then, of course, if we then return back to that, I'll have to look for some confirmation before looking to take the short back down. With that said, it is Friday, so what am I looking for? Those higher time frame directional EMAs to be traded back towards and then rejected for the day itself. So the daily 50 EMA is right down here, so I do think we've got very good range for price to come back down towards that daily 50 EMA. It's definitely not looking like a favorite of mine. But refine those areas down. Let's have a look what price action is doing on the 15-minute time frame. Again, if price is going to load. So we can see that GCAD can trade beautifully towards the upside, higher highs, higher lows, etc., etc. This is a break of structure, leaving an order block behind. We've come back in, had another break, pull back, and then off we've gone, breaking structures to the left. We then come back into the area. So yeah, there's potentially a mistrade to the left-hand side, as I thought yesterday. Now, it just as it looks as if we're respecting session highs. So if we pull back, I'll look for confirmation for the short, and then if we come to those lows. This 4 hour order block, it's nothing in my opinion. It's just to see if price comes back down to the area. As you can see, I've got an alerts there to see what's going to happen. If I do see a nice reaction from that area, i.e. price starts to print those lower lows and lower highs on the way down, and then we tap into that 50-minute order block and we rock it off, leave an order block behind, then of course I'll look for that long position from that order block. That's only if I get that. Failing that, I believe down at these lows would be where price is looking to be gravitate towards, and then that's really where I'll be looking to take a long position from on GCAD. So in the immediacy, looking at GCAD shorts from those highs and not too much before that. I've got an alert above price action, not looking for an Asia range, but what I am looking for is, let's see if we get, for a good example, there is an order block just here. Let's say we crash into that order block, break lows, and then pull back, then I'll be looking to trade alongside that, which would just be trading alongside the 15-minute time frame that is incredibly bearish at this time. So that will allow us to grab or jump onto a bearish trend back into a point of interest where we'd be expecting price to move towards the upside. So that's what I have at the moment for GCAD. I think it looks okay. Price action and structure wise, I can't really take too much out of it, particularly on that daily time frame. We are still bullish, so therefore I'd like to take a long position, but that long position is not until that daily 50 MA. For the day, I expect price to want to gravitate towards the daily 50 MA. Potentially that could be reject the 4 down to the daily, into the daily, and then we start to move towards the upside for the latter stages of the afternoon. So that's what we have on GCAD. EU's got a ping, so it's probably looking good. EU, okay, nice. Hoping for a pullback on EU, to be quite honest. I like it both ways. So higher time frame directional wise, we're in that weekly, we're trading out of that weekly order block. Just here refined before refinement, supported short by that weekly 50 MA. Then when we start to refine what we have on the weekly time frame, we can see the daily looks absolutely fantastic. And you guys know, I'm not really concerned about price action and structure, excuse me, on the higher time frames, but just when they're clear like that, we just have to take into consideration that I'm now, if I'm going to be taking a long position, I definitely am trading the higher low, excuse me, the lower high before we make what looks to be a higher lower low continuation. So we've had that low, lower high, looking for that lower low out of what? The daily 50 MA. How's the performance? Absolutely beautiful. Rejection, rejection. If price comes back in, what am I expecting? Rejection. We're double paired with that weekly 50 MA as well towards the downside. So shorts for me are definitely the place to be on EU today. With that said, it doesn't mean I can't take a long position back up into my short area where I think it looks good. Why? Well, have a look at the 4 hour time frame. I think that looks fantastic as well. Got a high in the market, higher low confirmed as a result of the higher high. Price pulled back into the area that caused the high, and that we're in the realms of making that higher high. So, where after a higher high, what am I expecting? A higher low. Where's my available 4 hour order book and liquidity that caused it? Or rather that's been left behind. Here supported by what? 4 hour 50 MA. What's the performance doing on the 4 hour time frame with the 4 hour 50 MA? We broke up, we then rejected, off we've gone, created that higher high. So of course now if we pull back, what am I expecting? Rejection towards the upside and potentially make that higher high into the better area where I am absolutely looking forward to a short from this area. Double rejection, weekly, daily 50 MA. That looks absolutely fantastic, I must say. However, in the immediacy, 15-minute time frame also looks really, really nice towards the upside. Hence why I'd be happy to take a long position. Also, hopefully London opens and we don't fill Asia, then we'll be using Asia as a confluent to be filled, as well as the higher time frame directional bias starting from that date, excuse me, it's from the 4 hour time frame, but with the daily time frame in mind that we're just creating that pullback. I love this type of setup because we're trading the extension or the pullback on the higher time frames. We're using the 4 hour time frame to support that and the 15. And then in the inverse, when price gets there, we're using all the same confluences just in the opposite direction. So EU, it's these are the types of chart that kind of get me excited about and analyzing the candlesticks essentially because it's just beautiful. That's what I have for EU there, team. UJ, it's an amber, so there's not too much on UJ, I must admit. Where are we? If it's going to load. All right, so we're into that weekly higher time frame order block, still looking to reject that for the week. Therefore, my mindset is gauged towards short. Got a wick imbalance from yesterday as well. Looking for price to retest those daily highs, previous daily highs. But what I'm really seeing on UJ is just a session high short from up these highs. So if I zoom out, hold your eyes for a moment, we can see how those session highs are performing. We come into those session highs and we start to have those moves out. The only thing that I'm not liking out of that is it feels like we're being squeezed and we're making not lower lows, but the lows that we are making aren't as low as they have been previously. So this session high is certainly losing its power. So therefore it's an amber because I'm not really, why trade that if you've got AU, UCAD, even GCAD and EU to have a good look at? It's there in case we feel the need to take it, but I don't believe that will be a higher probable setup for today because look at the facts. All we need to do is look at the facts. The session high is powerful, but it's losing its power. You can just see that we're failing to even reach up to those highs, and we're just not making any new lows. With that said, the question that you're asking me is, Charles, well, does that mean you'll take a short from this high, from this 4 hour order block? No, it doesn't. It's just a 4 hour order block that supports the 4 hour 50 MA. This 4 hour order block hasn't done anything. If this 4 hour order block is a result of price doing that, breaking structures towards the upside, then absolutely on the return, I'll expect a reaction from it. I still do expect a reaction from this order block, but it doesn't mean I'm going to be trading it. It just means it's there and I'm mindful of it in terms of if I take a short, then I know where my targets must be by that 4 hour order block that's being supported by that 4 hour 50 MA. Pretty much as simple as that, team. So in fact, let me give UJ a red because I don't really, there's no reason to encourage trading UJ when we have such good options on the chart. GJ, let's have a look at GJ if it's going to load. Okay, the internet is a little bit improved since yesterday. I've spoken way too soon. Okay, GJ. Any trade on GJ is definitely going to be a reversal. So with reversal trades, you already know what I'm going to say. It comes with its own risks because we're not trading alongside price action. We can see even on the 4 hour since that chart has decided to load first, we're just bullish. It's as simple as that. Higher highs and lows, higher highs and lows, higher highs, we could just be creating that higher low. That's what a reversal is going to be, creating the extension before the move, or rather creating the pullback before the extension. So therefore we can see how the price is trending towards the downside on the 15-minute time frame. If you want to get involved in a reversal trade, it looks pretty good based on the 15-minute. We're breaking lows, we're making lower lows and lower highs on the way down, and we're leaving order blocks behind. The only thing is, what order block are you going to use? One, two, or three that are still available. Therefore, when you have a degree or that degree of amount of order blocks, you've got to be quite careful. It's not 1 minute break of structure, 1 minute break of structure, 1 minute break of structure. Cannot be aggressive on all of those order blocks because you cannot open yourself up to loss, loss, and loss in quick succession based on the 1 minute order block. So what I'd like to see on GJ is, let's see if we can break some lows again, giving light to this order block. Then if we break lows continuously with this, the most recent order block available, then of course if price comes in, then I'll look for a 15-minute bearish engulfing candle and start the process all over again and take a short in line with then expecting a pullback on the higher time frames. That pullback on the higher time frame for me will come back into the imbalance. That imbalance is supported by a daily order book and the 4-hour 50 MA that price is now respecting. So I think it makes very, very, very good sense. If we miss the shorts, then I'll definitely go over the long positions, which I feel could come from that refined area on that daily time frame. However, with that said, when we start to refine this daily order block out here, we've got a few options. Therefore, I've gone for the lowest 15-minute order block that's available right there at session lows. So that gives me the best reason to take that position. We're down at the lows. That, I believe, is the reason why we started to move towards the upside. Let me go one step further. Let me just re-evaluate and analyze myself to see if there is actually a 4-hour order block refined. I don't believe there is, or else I would have put one in. Potentially I've missed one just there. Let's go again. Is that available? No, it's not available. It's been mitigated just there. One across. That would have been the only order block available. This here. Let me see where that comes out. Let's see if there's a 15-minute order block within that area. Not available. Okay, so can't be using that. So yeah, I'll go for the lowest. As you can see, I'm alerts galore on GJ, but I hope you realize my mindset isn't really towards GJ at all. It's towards these other pairs that are very much so just look a lot better, particularly EU. I think it's just textbook. GU, again, GU, because of that linear move on the daily time frame, very difficult to identify solid breaks of structure towards the downside. However, at some point we kind of have to start backing yourself and understand that this move towards the downside here is breaking structures to the left. However, again, it must be said, it is an aggressive position because here is a key structure point in the market that caused that most recent high. So therefore, understand the risks that are associated with that type of position. It is a reversal trade, and with reversal trades, we have to understand that after this high, we don't know where that higher low is going to be. So if we enter here as price is moving up, we could be entering when price is actually in the move to make that higher high. Therefore, what am I going to say? It requires confirmation before looking for the short on GU. That confirmation, bearish 15-minute engulfing candle. And I mean engulfing. Once you get engulfing, we start the process again. That engulfing candle will indeed break structures on the lower time frames. And then you'll be left with a 15-minute order block behind. Once price then returns back into that 15-minute order block, I then want to see a shift again on the 1 minute time frame to take that short position. Why? Well, it's a reversal, and we do have 15-minute order blocks above that area as well, where you could anticipate a rejection from. The reason why I do like it, however, wick imbalance rejection for the week. We've got what's that? 13 hours, 45 minutes to reject that wick imbalance for the rest of the close of business today. And then I see where price could want to gravitate back down towards for the day after rejection from that order book back down into the 4-hour 50 MA, where price is being respected at this time. So I think GU, it deserves to go up actually. GU is not bad at all. It deserves to go just there. EU needs to be at the top. Yeah, so GU's been promoted. I don't mind GU at all. Got a good trading range. And in terms of the long position, I do love the long position as well. 4 hour order block that's caused that move towards the highs. Unfortunately, we've got two 4 hour order blocks. So again, confirmation required from this 15-minute order block. And this order block, I will be very aggressive for the day because I'll be looking to reject that daily 50 MA for the day. And hopefully, if the recent 4 hour candle closes, let's say above that 4 hour, it will be bearish, but closes above that 4 hour 50 MA. The moment that next 4 hour candle opens and starts to print down, I'm into confluence. I expect this 4 hour candle to reject that 4 hour 50 MA for the time frame and then leave me with a wick where I've entered. That'd be a beautiful position for the day, rejecting daily 50 MA for the day, 4 hour 50 MA within that 4 hour time frame. And I think GU actually looks quite good. I'm going to promote it further. We'll give GU a solid green. So that's what I have for the day, team. As I said, bit of a quick breakdown, but it is a good breakdown in my opinion nonetheless. I'll keep you guys advanced and active throughout the day. As I said, I am away, but I'm very much still in the markets. I'm trading, pretty much just trying to prove a point to myself that this is the life that you kind of work towards, right? Where you're able to go away, open your charts, do good analysis, professional analysis. You don't necessarily need your screens at home, and it can be done. So thank you very much for your time, your patience, and bearing with me, because being away, I know the times can be a little bit varied, but I'm trying to make it work, trying to make it make sense. So thank you very much, everyone. Do appreciate you all. Have a great trading day. It's been quite a good, solid trading week, I think. Only the one loss, I believe, on GJ. Don't quote me. If I have mentioned the other losses throughout the day, throughout the week, then I certainly have taken those as well. But to my memory, all I can remember is GJ, and we've taken a couple of good Asia range positions as well. So take care, as I always say. All the very best. Manage your risk and trade with professionalism, as least trading errors as you possibly can. Take care. Ciao.